I will go ahead and call the meeting to order here, the Milton School Committee Finance Subcommittee at 1:02 p.m. Based upon our agenda, have a couple things we're going to do. We have a check-in on the budget timeline, discussion of the revolving accounts policies, if there's any further movement on that. And then we also have the community schools. John, I don't know if you want to start with community schools, just to save her time so she can get out of here.
Thank you.
Yeah, we would love to start with community schools and have Martha describe the program in the summer and some of the background information and context for a potential fee increase for the summer programming of community schools, not the overall program, but the summer of 26 fees that will need to be increased in order for us to balance the budget for that service delivery.
Great.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
For having me.
Before we start, is this in the folder?
Yes.
So we have this on paper, Mark, but if you could share the screen, this is in the folder. That helps.
Is that the Google Sheet?
Yes.
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 Okay.
And other folks, this is in your sub-finance folder. It's labeled Proposal for Tuition Adjustment, Camp Cunningham, Camp Tucker 2026.
Can you all see that?
Yes.
This is in slides. Is yours in a slide presentation or just?
That's the PDF version of the Google Sheets.
Okay.
This is the sheet. Yeah. I'm just making sure I'm in the right thing. Y'all can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want me to PDF into the folder? Is it easier to look at it if we?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do.
We're going to move the PDF into the folder, Mark, so you can bring up the PDF version, which might be a little easier to access. So we're going to upload a PDF to that folder, and we can share that in about 2 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you. So while we're waiting, and Katie, thank you for doing this. Want to welcome Martha to this table. Martha has worked very hard over the last few years to organize community schools in a very structured, supportive, and great way. We're really excited about the programming, the staffing, the quality of service delivery that Martha and her team are able to deliver. And we will be asking for a presentation from her regarding the next steps of community school that might need a potential increase as well for the following year at another time. But we wanted to start with the summer program fee because we want to be able to, and Martha wants to be able to get this information out to our families as soon as possible so they can make their summer plans for the upcoming summer season.
Okay, so the PDF should be, a copy of it should be in the folder for today.
Okay. I just, oops, wrong one.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Oh, great. Yeah, let me. Okay. Sorry about that, everyone.
No, this looks good.
That looks perfect, and we have paper copies here, so we're good.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm here obviously to talk about the summer camp programs in community schools. As you know, last year was the first year that we launched Camp Tucker. It was a small camp to start with, but was very successful. We had a great feedback from families, the staff, the kids had a great time. So we obviously want to continue offering Camp Tucker as well as Camp Cunningham. But we were already expecting a loss with the new camp. However, our projections, we didn't meet the numbers that we required in order for us to not have a huge loss. A lot of the feedback that we received from families too was that because we start our registration a little bit late in March, by the time that most summer camps programs open, usually in like January, February, we were too late and it was too late for them to get refunded from other camps, canceled, and then try to join us. So in order to do this, we want to start early, get the information out to our families at the beginning of January, and hopefully start our registration mid to end of January or so. So that's why I'm here today. And in the first, I wanted to start with some comparisons actually. In the second page, I gathered some information from different summer camp programs, just so we can see where we are in comparison to other towns. And some of them are school-based programs, some of them are nonprofit or private programs. Can you see the second
Could you
page?
scroll up, Mark, so the page 2 can be on the screen?
This is page 2, I thought. Sorry.
It had
just
graph.
Yeah, I was just zoomed in so we could read that. But yes, here's the graph. Is this good?
Could you go to the next page with the graph on it?
We don't see it.
We don't see
Oh.
it.
Oh, why don't you see?
We're
Okay,
seeing, yeah.
Let me stop and share again.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Can you see it now?
Not yet. Now we can.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, it's a little bit small. But yeah, so this is just some of the programs around, and some of the colors that you might see, the 2025 fees are in blue. So that means they have not been updated for the upcoming summer. And in pink or light red, that is tuition fees the information that I was able to obtain from programs who are already putting out their information for this coming summer. So as you can see, we remain pretty low compared to many programs. It's similar. I did it based on the number of hours and the number of days and in weeks run, as well as whether they have an extended day option. So both camps are running 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. with an extended day 3 to 5, which is optional. So many of these programs don't offer that extended day option. So that's what you can see there in that graph in the chart, and the details of what kind of program they are on the right. So the first graph is the first column in the graph. That is our current tuition, and we are proposing a 10% increase in our tuition so that will be weekly. We're currently at $373. That will put us at $410 a week. Our tuition is the structure of the tuition is bi-weekly, so we do it in sessions. We run for 3 sessions, starting at the end of June. So normally it will be $820 per session. The first session we prorated because we are closed on the 4th of July. And that you can actually see in the next page, how the tuition fees are broken down into. So they are by session, for regular hours, extended day, and what a full day, if families choose to, they can enroll for the full day. And it is at the bottom is broken down by week, by day, and by hour. And on the left is our current tuition fees, and on the right is what we're proposing, which is a 10% increase fee. So how we came up with the 10% number, we actually did a projection in based on the financial statements from the last summer. If you go to the next page, please. Yes, so those are combined, and I also provided separate Cam Cunningham and Cam Tucker in a separate sheet. Those are just combined for visual purposes. So the first column shows the expenses and the actual cost and the revenue, and then we're projecting what would happen if we don't increase the tuition and what it looks like, and then what it looks like with a 10% increase. So it is still will be running at a small loss, but we are hoping that now with opening Cam Tucker registration earlier, those numbers are going to bump up, and we'll hopefully have more students coming in and revenue coming in to close that gap.
Sorry, Martha, it seems like the information in the no increase column is just a duplicate of the 10%. That was just maybe a copy paste error. Is that right? Not.
No, so that is just so the expenses are on the actual 2025, and then we added a 6% increase scenario for both.
Oh, got you. Got you. So the expenses are expenses are the same. The 10% increase is only hitting the revenue.
Correct. Yes. So
okay, I'm sorry.
This thing's in detail, but yes, that is correct. So yeah, that is assuming that we will have the same number of campers, which we had 221 campers at Camp Cunningham and 87 at Tucker in total. And obviously, so we had some campers who were signed up for one session, and we have campers who did 3 sessions. Some of them were extended days, some others aren't. So it kind of varies. But so this is just utilizing the same scenario of last year. And then obviously with an increase in expenses, and obviously our biggest expenses, salaries. And you can see that. And in the next 2 pages, you can see the Cam Cunningham actual and the projection, which actually Cam Cunningham, we made some money there, about 63,000. And then Tucker had a big loss of 83. So that was our loss of about $20,000.
So if you go down to the lower page, you can see the breakdown by program, by Cunningham program and Tucker program.
Yes. So that's the Cam Tucker sheet. Yes. So that was we had, like I said, that we had a big loss. We were projecting to have at least our capacity at Tucker. We set it last year with 80 campers a day. When I estimated the cost, I was estimating a minimum of 60 campers, but we didn't get to that number. We were in the 40s, and low 40s or 30, depending on the sessions. So unfortunately, as I said, we were already expecting a loss, but it was a bigger loss than we thought. But we were able to somehow also compensate that with the Cam Cunningham revenue in profit made from last year.
So the big picture scenario is that 10% represents a moderate increase in the fee, especially when you look at it from a dollar and cents perspective. We're not trying to make money on this. We're trying to break even. And the hope is that with the early registration, the enrollment will go up. Between the increase in enrollment and the increase in fee that's moderate, then we'll be able to make this balance for the summer program and bring that combined loss down to almost even, or if we make a few dollars. It should be noted, I know folks know this, but say it out loud. This is Milton Community Schools needs to be solvent year to year. And that only is possible if we do build up reserves over time in order to have a safety net for when enrollment or whatever happens during a particular year, during the school year or over the summer, that needs to be funded. Right now, the revolving account, we are not necessarily working from a summer perspective. We're showing you that we're working at a deficit level, and at the year school program, we are also working at a deficit level. So there will be a need to increase the fee in the year-long program, and we need to support Martha in giving her the tools to be successful with providing the service that's so important to our families, but also having it be cost-effective and actually right side up in the terms of revenue being more than the expenses. So we will come back again with the school year program increases and the methodology for that as well. But for the summer school, we're hoping that this moderate increase will do the trick, at least for the summer programming. And then we will come back for the year-round program as well.
Questions from members? Amanda?
A couple questions. So just for clarification, when you were talking about the 87 at Tucker, is that the capacity? That's the capacity, not what was enrolled last summer, correct?
No, so the total daily capacity is at 80, but we had 87 campers enrolled in total. So let me just get to my sheet here and I can tell you. So we had at Camp Tucker for session one, we had 34 campers. For session 2, we had 56. And for session 3, we had 50. So it was not anywhere near what we were hoping. We were even hoping to get to at least 60. That was my, when I did the projection last year and estimated that, but we unfortunately didn't get to that number.
And when you mean 60, that's 60 per 2-week session.
Correct. Daily,
right.
Daily attendance.
Daily attendance for each 2-week session. So yes. Folks can do the first 2 weeks and not do the second 2 weeks.
Correct.
And come back on the third 2-week session. So the 3 sessions matter. When you break it up like that, there's a risk there of from a budgeting perspective, there's a risk there for what you're putting out for capacity and expenses and whether you're going to get that back, and you have to employ people for the whole summer. For the most part, you can't have someone work 2 weeks, not work 2 weeks, and then maybe work 2 weeks. So correct. We're trying to plan for the 6-week program, but it is a 2-week at a time service delivery for families. And that becomes a complicating factor in terms of the business model.
Yes.
So are the revenue projection numbers based on capacity?
No, they are based on the actual numbers from last summer.
But the revenue for this coming summer is based on the actuals from last summer?
Correct.
Okay.
So anything new that's added to that will attack that $5,000 deficit.
Correct.
This might not be a popular thing to say, are we increasing it enough? It seems, we are so far below. Did I freeze?
No.
Okay,
Nope.
We're so far below. It looks like maybe Quinn's the other, there are people who haven't increased it. But then to your point about having the reserve funds, I just worry that, and you don't want to go too much, but, $11 an hour for anything involving an activity for kids just seems, given that the amount of staffing and that, I don't know, I just want to be conscious of the fact that if we're looking at it, does even a 2% increase over that help? I don't want to go too much. I recognize that, but I'm just not sure what else you could do in the summer as a camp for $11 an hour. And I just want to make sure we're being realistic about what it costs to run the program.
Can I say something? Mm-hmm. So Amanda, you brought a very good point. So for the summer program, historically, we've been a little bit closer with other programs in terms of tuition, which is not where we are with before and after school. So the reason why we just proposed a 10% with the summer program is because we're already anticipating that the before and the after school program is going to be a significant, if not a whole restructure of the tuition fees. So okay. That's why we want to take a pretty safe approach for now. And Katie and I are working on that, the bigger picture of in the future of community schools and what it looks like in the next 3 years.
So being more conservative with the summer, knowing that there could be more.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
That makes sense. I'm just trying to be conscious of the fact that, a lot of the discussions we're going to be having is about reserve funds, like revolving accounts, and making sure that we have that they're funded appropriately. And if that's the mindset we're looking at any increase with. So I appreciate it being conservative. I also want to make sure that we're being realistic to charge what it costs. And not, to your point, we're not making money, but we also do need to have the money in the revolving account. So I appreciate the thought that's gone into it. So thank you.
If I can just add too, I think a piece of the complexity with the projections is the fact that it was the first year of the program at Camp Tucker. So we almost felt like it was difficult to be able to see what the potential revenue would be, because we feel like the program isn't even at its potential capacity. And so the hope really is to be that we are letting our community and our families know that this is a program that is available to them over the summer at a very competitive rate. And we want our families to take advantage of it. And then I think that once we have year 2 under our belt with a sense of, okay, that capacity truly should be around 60, or maybe we are closer to 80, then we can reassess and see what the fees are so that we can eventually get to that point where we're at break even or making in excess revenue. But I think I just wanted to add, it was kind of, we talked about kind of a few different options, and we felt that the 10% option was ultimately the best decision for now, knowing that we'll always have to revisit it every single year.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. And I do think that decision to move up the timing for enrollment is huge. Just, as everybody knows with kids, January, things start going, and you're sort of way behind the 8 ball if you're signing up in March. So I think that's really helpful, and it will probably help enrollment as well.
Val?
Hi, thank you so much for thinking about this at this point, because I agree with what Amanda has said. The earlier, the better, right? Because parents are already looking at what summer camp to sign up. I also have a suggestion. Have you looked at, because right now the program is designed for every 2 weeks. Do you think the enrollment will increase if we do it every week? Like the family can sign up for any particular week, 1 week at a time, instead of 2 weeks at a time. I know that will increase the workload on the administration side, but it will increase flexibility for family who might wanted to try it out and then decided to sign up for more in the future. So I'm just curious if we would consider doing that.
Yes, we have considered that option of doing weekly registrations. And it's not only the administrative side of things, it's also that we are a license program in the summer. We're licensed by the Board of Health. So each child, we require an extensive amount of information, including health information and whatnot. And also the program currently is designed so the curriculum and the activities are in 2 weeks' time. So for our participants to have a good experience, building up that relationship with the staff and curriculum based too, it's very important. And we used to do it weekly. Back in the day, it was actually before my time, and then he switched to the 2 weeks, and we have found that the experience from the kids, the participants' lens it's different and better. It has improved in that sense. That doesn't mean that we don't need to consider it. It's just going to be very, very tricky to do, but yeah.
Yeah, to jump in, I tend to agree with Bao in that, like, I look at the camps you're comparing to. I know the Blue Hills Nature Camp is a week camp. Stephen Cates Camp is a day camp. Like, you can sign up for a single day, I think, at that camp. I'm pretty sure the Camp Hale is a week camp. The YMCA's are usually week camps. So I think a lot of those comparison camps are 1 week camps, and that is, I think, a lot of, from my experience in signing kids up for camps, which my wife does most of it, but most of them are kind of on a single week. So I tend to agree with Val that might improve enrollment. To get back to some of the like financial points, I tend to agree with Amanda too on just, I think conservative is kind of the wrong word. I think we're like not quite being conservative enough in that, like, is it 11% to not project a $5,000 to $6,000 deficit, right? And project kind of no deficit. What would that take? I'm a little bit confused on the revenue forecast, though, for, like, when I look at the total revenue and I just do the math based on the kind of enrollment numbers you gave and the tuition numbers that were above. I know we do probably some support of families who can't afford it, but the numbers I get is like that our revenue should have been around $100,000 for, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at just Tucker, given that seems to be the place where we are losing money. And I guess if we are looking at our expenses for Tucker being $175,000 and our revenue being $82,000, even if we doubled our enrollment from that math, which I don't believe we can double our enrollment from a capacity standpoint, but even if we doubled it, we are not breaking even on Tucker somehow, right? And so I wonder there of just, if there's more information on that revenue forecast, like, are we just anticipating that we're going to, in order to have kind of this geographic diversity of sites, that we're just going to have to operate at Tucker at a loss? Is there a way to adjust the programming or staffing in some way? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because that seems like there seems to be a structural issue with the Tucker model then of how, I'm not Tucker the school, but obviously the Camp Tucker model, to, like, how do we make that financially viable long term? Because I don't necessarily think we can run that just at a consistent kind of $85,000 deficit.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good business model to be $85,000 deficit. But when you think about the different pieces of it, this is the first year was a pilot year.
Yeah.
But we'd like to see a second year worth of data to see how many students we can enroll in addition to the ones that we have provided capacity for, that will be a net revenue to the good. And also, to what extent do we want to diversify the pricing for our families at Tucker that is the same as our families across the town, but also offer the program within that small community, so that there's a balance here, I think, that we're trying to strike. And I think it might take maybe 2 or 3 years of data points in longevity of the program to find out if there's interest, how high that interest is, and begin to modify that. Basically, what you're showing here is that the price should be higher for everybody. It doesn't need to be higher at the Cunningham side because we get the numbers, but you can't charge something different for the Tucker side than you do the Cunningham side. So I do think that we should take this 1 year at a time and collect our thoughts and our experiences from a financial perspective and also from the student experience perspective about how this is viable and then what that number might need to go up to. So it does look like we'll operate from a deficit at Tucker, but the combined deficit will be lower. And if the enrollment goes up, then we'll shrink that. And I think at the end of next summer, we're going to start to think harder about whether that needs to increase again based on our experience. So I do think that this is an evolving programmatic experience for community schools, given only 1 year in the bank right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I agree with Katie's point of, it's a pilot year. You need to get your name out there. You need to build some good experiences from kids. And then those families speak of that and kind of spread the word. And hopefully the enrollment goes up. But it just seems like even from a best case scenario, we fully fill the enrollment at Tucker, that it is going to lose money somehow. And that that to me seems like, yeah, just how are we staffing that site? Like what, I guess I'm not clear here on like what are the real cost drivers that make that so much different based upon kind of the table here. And so maybe that's something you'll have greater insight into. But yeah, just, how do we kind of turn that around kind of in the long term? I generally agree, John, with your point that, we don't have quite enough kind of longitudinal data to understand. And, I'm sure Martha's thinking of operational efficiencies just coming out of last year with being the very first year at Tucker and figure that out next year. So I think, we need to give it certainly another year and we can look at it next year. So overall, I think supportive of this. I think if we were projecting a conservative $6,000 deficit, which assumes same staffing, same enrollment, then, that's $6,000, something we should be able to kind of balance. And 10% is a lot for families to kind of eat in a single year. So maybe that just means next year we're able to do something a bit smaller to kind of get to a slight surplus into it and make sure we're not eating into other parts of the budget.
Yeah, it'd be really nice to have when we get next year's data to see how the enrollment increase, given this being year 2 impacts the bottom line of the financial statement. And that will give us a lot of good information about what we do for year 3.
And may I say also that we're not necessarily fixing the capacity at 80 at Tucker. We took that approach last year because obviously it was our first year. We didn't know how that was going to go, if the building was appropriate for running the activities that we planned. And we found that it was. And so there is definitely capacity to expand sorry for repeating it, the capacity. Even, we have 100, our capacity at Kim Cunningham is between 130 and 150 a day. And there's definitely capacity to go up at Tucker. And we're even looking at 100, 120 students per day.
That we could support,
yes. As long as there is right now, there's no other programs in that building. So we could have access to more classrooms and more space. We found that the Kim Cunningham formula has been working for years, how it's structured. And basically what we did is we applied to Tucker. The only difference there was Kim Cunningham, the participants have access to the Cunningham pool across the street. And we knew that trying to get buses down to from the Kim Tucker kids to down there every day or even on a weekly basis, it cost-wise, it was just not going to work. So what we decided was at Kim Cunningham, historically, we have field trips, but they're not included in tuition and they are optional. And at Kim Tucker, we included the field trips in the tuition. So that's sort of like how we balance and we're able to offer both camps at the same cost. Also, Kim Tucker, we really push for, or the selling point is our very strong STEM program, and which again was very successful. We had Mrs. Van Hale was our summer technology teacher, and the kids really did amazing projects with her. We're hoping she comes back again, but those are like the strong and the selling points of Camp Tucker, that the field trips are included, and it's a strong STEM without getting into the academic, but it's that, that enrichment experience for the students.
Yeah, I totally hear that, Martha. And again, well, you'll need another kind of year for this, but I think obviously one of the challenges here is we took the kind of Cunningham model, which has 120, 130 student capacity, took that to a program that is a much lower capacity number. And so that is resulting in the deficit. So there might need to be just significant kind of differences within the models from a staffing activity, whatever, just because they are not size-wise, right? You have the one nurse per site. That's just kind of your standard costs, right? And splitting that over 120 kids versus over 50 kids is obviously very much different. you're still going to have a supervisor at each side. There are just some of those things, obviously, from us staffing that you're not going to be able to get away from having one. And so, like even the supplies, your supplies look like they're based upon this, like are pretty similar in terms of cost. Actually, Tucker's supplies were slightly higher, right? And so they're just, some of those things that's splitting across 40. And again, hopefully we can drastically increase enrollments. It's something we'll need to look at. I don't know if the lack of access to a pool is going to just be something that families aren't ultimately interested in sending their kids to camp that doesn't have outside kind of pool access. I don't know. I send my kids to plenty of camps where they don't necessarily go to the pool, but that is something that we probably only will understand with kind of data over time. So I think it was a really exciting idea that y'all came up with. I'm glad we're continuing it, and I appreciate you figuring out how we can kind of make this financially viable for next year, certainly. Now,
I have a question. I remember the Tucker PTO have come to our meeting and presenting about the Tucker playground renovation. Is that starting this summer or is it? No, okay. So it's not going to affect the camp. Okay.
Not this summer.
All right. And like instead of having a pool, I think having a slip and slide could be a feasible alternative, perhaps at Tucker. I don't remember. I think there's quite a big field right there, but it's not grass. It's paved, so it might be a little bit hard. So I don't know.
We did have outdoor water games, and that was like every day. So the kids will bring their bathing suit, and because there's no AC in the buildings, and so they really needed that. So we took advantage of that. We had the whole playground to ourselves, and purchased different water station sort of toys, games, and whatnot, and the kids love that. But and we have to be careful too, because we even thought about anything that contains water that kind of like a small pool that is subject to license, and it's a whole nother level of in safety and whatnot. So we just kept the games, and the kids were pretty happy with that. I think it was definitely a bit of a shock last year because we found more than a need is a preference in our sessions at Camp Cunningham. At least typically session 2 and 3 go pretty quickly, so right away, and there was a wait list, and we kept encouraging people, please sign up for Camp Tucker. It's a great program, you're gonna love it. And we had about 17 participants who did both camps. So because you can combine sessions as well. Camps. And they found that it was definitely worth it. And many families were like, oh, we're definitely signing up next year for Camp Tucker. So we hope that again, first year, we learned a lot. And obviously we want to continue improving the programs, and we want to continue offering both sites.
Yeah, thank you so much for all your hard work in creating this great opportunity for the Tucker side of the family, so that they don't have to send their kids all across town. We all know the Milton commute is not not very pleasant. From one side of town to another side takes half hour sometimes. So yeah, thank you so much for all your hard work.
Oh, absolutely. And it was born because of that, because we knew there were some families that because we don't provide transportation during the summer. It was a need that we needed to fulfill, because some families don't have transportation and they're closer to the Tucker school. And we took that initiative also with our vacation camps. So last year also we brought back the February and April vacation camps. We run them at both sites, Tucker and Cunningham. Normally in December we just keep Cunningham because it's very, very low enrollment. But it's been successful.
I just think of this, it is probably not feasible because, Tucker and Cunningham camp, summer camps, a lot of parents want to try different kind of camps. So other than just maybe offering 1 week camps, which creates more flexibility for families, is it possible to open it up for people who are outside of Milton? Do you think that would draw in more interest? from the neighbor who live closer, like in the Quincy side or maybe the Mattapan side. It might be.
Is it?
Hmm?
Yeah. Is it resident restricted? Actually, I assume most people were Milton, but not that it was resident restricted.
No, it is only students from Milton Public Schools.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So, not even other non-MPS students can't enroll.
Correct. Yes. And normally, and again, because we historically, Camp Cunningham always has a wait list.
Mhm.
So we wanted to first offer it to our students in the district. Now, obviously, yes, that could be a possibility where if we don't have, or I should say, we still have the capacity. Yes, that's something that we can explore.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea of like having a second round, a deadline for MPS students, and then it's more publicly opened if their seats are not filled in order to get the tuition dollars. It's an interesting idea, Val. Any other questions on this for Martha? I'll echo what Val said. Thank you so much for all of your work on this and everything you do. Like, and my kids love community schools. They just absolutely are there all the time. So really enjoy it. So thank you. You had a great team. Appreciate all you're doing, Martha.
Thank you.
So is that do we want to take a motion and a vote for the fee increase?
Yeah, we can do that. I will make a motion to approve the Milton Community Schools summer camp fee increase.
Second.
All in favor? This will be a roll call vote with just Amanda and I. Sure, not on the finance committee, Val. So you'll vote on the
Okay.
full committee. Amanda?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Perfect.
So we will bring that put that on the agenda for the next school committee meeting.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for all your work. Yeah, you can jump right out. You didn't close that door.
We'll do that. Thank you, everybody. Have a good
Of course.
weekend.
I know Amanda has a hard stop at 2:00, which I can also benefit from. So we have about 15 minutes left. The budget timeline, I wanted to talk about that briefly just because I think I wasn't able to connect with Charlene and I saw one of her emails late. Given we're meeting finance today, means I did not create a 12:10 agenda and City Hall is closed. So that means we are not able to meet next Wednesday. I know, John, you sent the email about kind of some of the new information around from the town around costs for health insurance that you're going to talk to Nick and Amy about next week. And I assume we'll need that information because what we were going to do on the 10th, was the second round of kind of the budget review, right? That was what was on the schedule for the 10th. Is that something, given kind of that additional information that you're not expecting to get until Monday, seems like maybe it's helpful to push that conversation till the 17th anyways, or do we want to try and find time next Thursday or Friday to meet?
I think the 17th works.
The 17th might give us more time to also digest what's being said. We can communicate what the results are of that meeting to you all.
Yeah.
And it also will give us time to have some of the meetings with the principals that we're having in adjusting the timeline for that as well, to talk with them about whatever that adjustment is. So the 17th might just make more sense, and it won't rush anything, and it will provide us the time to provide you an update that might have more substance.
Okay. That makes sense to you, Amanda?
Yep.
Okay. So we'll change that. We'll meet on the 17th. Again, currently we are not able to meet on the 10th because of me. The other piece we had in terms of on the agenda today was the discussion of the revolving accounts. I think where we left that was I had the draft, we talked that through, and then I thought, John, you and Katie were going to chat about that draft and kind of make updates to it. Was that able to happen? Or is that something we need to talk about at a different date?
We should talk about that on a different date. I did not. I was not able to meet with Katie to discuss that.
Okay. Is there any other help we can provide or information you'll use from us? I know y'all got tons on your plate.
I don't think so.
No, I had done some just preliminary edits in that document that you had shared that is a similar format to the format that the town uses. But they were very preliminary, and I think we just need more time to be able to go through and populate the information. So I think if we could just keep that on the agenda and maybe discuss, probably not at the 17th, but certainly in January.
Okay, that's great. It's a good transition. That brings us to January meetings. Do we want to meet on the 7th? That's like the first Wednesday we get back, or that's, obviously there's been a break. Might be a lot on y'all's end.
I think we already are in a meeting on the 8th. Mark, you're also
7:30.
On the 7th, we have negotiation prep.
You're right.
Oh,
Yes,
I'm sorry,
we
the
decided,
7th.
yes, we decided that we wouldn't meet on the 7th.
Oh, okay.
So our next, because of the negotiation prep.
Yep.
You're right, Katie. Okay, so 14th we'll talk, and we can maybe put I just want to make sure we meet in enough time to give y'all any feedback on the kind of reserve account, the revolving funds stuff. If so, we're not holding you up, but we'll assume no meeting on the 10th, no meeting on the 7th, or we'll meet on December 17th for the second reading of the SY27 draft, and then we'll meet on January 17th for the revolving funds.
14th.
I'm sorry, you're right, 14th. For the revolving funds, and then what was the other date? We also had that date as the third reading of the overall budget, because then we were going to do the public presentation of the school department draft budget on the 21st. Okay.
Meetings?
So I think that means that if we keep following that, which I think makes sense, then we would not be able to talk about the revolving funds again until probably the 21st. I just want to make sure that timeline for the work is okay, or if we need to find another meeting to squeeze in sometime.
I think that right now that seems to work, and if we get jammed up on our side, we'll let you know if we need another meeting.
Okay. Great. So just to, again, recap one more time. 12/17, we're going to talk about the budget. January 14th, we'll be back, talk about the budget. January 21st, we'll talk about revolving funds. And then January 1st, school committee, we'll do the the public budget presentation. Then the goal is to kind of have a vote on the budget by that first school committee in February.
So do you have the revolving funds? I had the revolving funds on the 14th, and then, so we're not doing that on the 14th?
Revolving funds on the 21st.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll push that.
Okay.
So we can keep our budget timeline.
Perfect.
So we had one more item that we would like to discuss today, which was the FY26 realignment discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is it okay to go with that before Amanda has to leave?
Yes. Let's do that.
So Katie has some numbers, but we were looking to increase the assistant superintendent for teaching and learning role from a 0.6, which is 3 days a week, to a 1.0, which is 5 days a week. So Katie worked at netting out what the actual cost would be to the increase would be with that increase in FTE. And we're also asking to, with us not filling the fine arts and performing arts director unit B position this year, as the year has unfolded, we watched to see what service delivery needed to be in place and what we could do without for the year. And we're finding that if we had a lead teacher role to support some of the activities that the art and our music staff are involved in, would be very helpful to them I think you all know that our music program is pretty active outside of the school day, at night and on weekends. We're also hosting the state festival this year. So putting that on someone without reimbursing them, we felt would be disrespectful to the group. So Katie has the numbers. The fine performing arts role is by contract with the MEA, 5% of the person's salary who's applying. So we did post a job. We do have only one person on our staff that would like to do it. And Katie has calculated what 5% of their salary would be starting on October 1. And the reason why we're starting actually, it's just 5% of their salary period. For this year, we have that number. And then we also have a number that would bring Carla from 3 days a week to 5 days a week, which would also be money that we would have to seek in order to provide that increase as well. So the increase for the fine and performing arts team lead teacher is?
So the full increase for the entire year would be $5,667. But because it is starting later in the year, we would prorate that. So it would be $5,139.
And just to keep in mind, this is also our pilot program to see if this actually works for the staff. This may be what we continue in FY27 in place of hiring a $130,000 director. We think that we might be able to provide this type of support, see if it's enough during this fiscal year. And then that would inform our decision to budget this position in a similar way for next year, which would be at a substantial savings to the district in FY27.
Yep. What's the cost of the assistant superintendent?
So for the cost of the increase from 0.6 to 1.0 would be $32,538.51.
And Katie, you feel confident based upon kind of current budget forecasting projections, not filled positions, the stuff we kind of did at the start of the year, that covering kind of that $40,000 overall is going to be fine?
Yes.
Okay. If you feel comfortable with it, I'm ecstatic we can have an assistant superintendent of teaching and learning 5 days a week. That feels like a very low bar for any district, especially one of our size. So really appreciate all that Carla's done, probably working more than 3 days a week right now to bring that full time, and that she's willing to do that. And then I love John, the idea of being able to kind of pilot the other role this year and see if that fulfills kind of programmatic needs, given how much of a difference that is in cost to the district. Any questions other members have?
Do we have to vote on that?
You don't have to, but we would reflect this in the Q2 update.
Yes.
Formally, that's where the alignment would be realized, and that's where it would be reported out. But the support of that in a vote form is nice. But again, the physical journal entry will be done in time for our Q2, so that's where the vote would take place. Mm-hmm. Similar to what we did when we did not fill the vacancies over the summer. The formal vote was taken at the Q1 time period.
Yeah. So if you would like a vote, I'm happy to make a vote to kind of support this direction. I think that was like the language we used last time.
Yeah, that would be great.
And I will make a motion to support the direction of the school department to reallocate monies to fill a lead teaching position for the work that was previously under the Director of Fine Arts, and to bring the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Learning and Teaching to 5 days a week from 3 days a week.
A second.
Right. All in favor, roll call vote. Amanda?
Yes.
And I am a yes. Thank you all for putting that together. Appreciate you all, your continued responsiveness to district needs and bringing that to our attention so that we can keep adjusting. Even if
Thank you.
The best budgeters can't anticipate everything. So I'm glad we're having these conversations and y'all are adjusting mid-year to
Yeah.
to reflect kind of what you're seeing. It's great.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it too. I think the teachers will be ecstatic for the lead teacher role. I think it's not only the support of someone doing the work, but the teachers feel supported by having someone physically represent them. So from a morale standpoint, in a workload standpoint, it makes sense. And I think in terms of tier one instruction, I think that the principals and the leadership team will be ecstatic to know that they don't have to wait to see Carla on certain days and have her there 5 days a week to support the tier one instruction of the entire district moving forward. So real districts have real people in those roles for real full-time roles. So we're happy to be able to come up to that scale up to that level, and it'll be all good stuff. So thank you very much.
Yes. Great. Anything else on the budget realignment? If not, we got, I think, 90 seconds to spare here, Amanda. So
Appreciate it.
Budget Coordination Committee report, there's nothing on that. We have not had a meeting. I'm not even sure when the next one is, but nothing on that. Meeting minutes, I still owe. I'll send those out before we go on break. And then, as we said, we will meet not next Wednesday, but on the 17th will be our next meeting. I will get that together for Charlene. Is there anything else folks want to bring up?
Yep.
If not, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And I will second it. All in favor, roll call vote. Amanda?
Yes.
And I am a yes. Val, I'm sorry you were left out of all the votes. I really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for coming back.
Katie, John, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great weekend. Bye.
You too. Have a great weekend. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.